the footy club. I didn't know you were that big. You got like 2 grand followers. That'll pick someone up on
On
Insta.
Instagram?
Yeah.
2 grand?
I mean, Instagram lives are pretty popular.
Such an old man, though. I don't know how to, like, do shit. No, I'm following 2,000. I've only got 772.
Oh, is that what it was? Following? Oh, I thought it meant following you.
Am I that?
I'm the old man.
Come talk. All right, we'll see. Maybe people will show up in the comment. I have no idea. But should we get underway?
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, let's do it.
Nope, my microphone's working. Anywho, welcome back, everybody, to another edition of the Prem Show. I'm here with Jake Kenneke. Jake, how are you?
Good. It's becoming a trend. I'm always sleepy when I'm getting ready to do these, and I know I shouldn't complain because it's fucking 9:30 where you're at. So
7:30 in El Paso right now.
It is another. As I always joke with Jimmy because he lives in the northern part of the Midwest. It's another balmy fall day here, 91 degrees. Ugh.
I mean, 91's awful. I will say I bash Maryland a lot, but I cannot bash Maryland Falls because temperatures about low 70s, no humidity, sunny, and beautiful.
Yeah.
Good time to be in Maryland.
Did you guys get any of that storm, the remnants of the hurricane that hit Asheville and all that shit?
No, not really. It kind of affected our weather pattern in that it rained a bunch, but it wasn't anything really storm related. It kind of like went west, which is weird for a hurricane.
Yeah. My buddy Cody Simmons, he lives in Asheville, and he the building that he works in, he described it as gone. Just absolute insanity out there right now.
Yeah, I mean, it's hard to tell when I get my news about Asheville on Twitter, so it's like hard to tell what's real and what's not. But do you have a good pulse on like what's actually happening there?
They're pretty much getting screwed. I know there's the rumor going around by certain right-wing people saying, oh, well, they gave FEMA money to illegal immigrants or whatever, but that money had already been allocated and voted on by Congress. So the FEMA money that they had, I think it was like 2.3 billion or whatever, but we sent 8 billion to fucking Israel for weaponry. So, I mean, it's not like we don't have money.
I mean, yeah, I don't like to get into politics too much on this podcast, especially since my employer is. But yeah, it's pretty messed up. Yeah.
Yeah, but
the whole world is falling apart, Jake. But we still have football to discuss.
Absolutely.
And speaking of falling apart, I mean, we could get right into the Tottenham matchup with you lot. This bastard of a game.
A tale of two halves.
It was truly, that's such a cliche in soccer, but it's so true. And it's crazy how often that happens where first half the team will completely dominate. It will look like there's no chance of them ever losing. And then you see the other team come out in the second half and do the same exact thing. It's such like a wild swing. And one of the things I love about watching the game, especially if you're the ones that come out victorious on the second half.
Yeah.
But yeah, go on.
I honestly thought we were gonna get boat raced because the Johnson goal goes in, and then we have a chance. I think Welbeck misses one that he should have hit, and then you guys immediately come back, and Madison puts it past Verbruggen for sort of like a freaky goal. Verbruggen probably could have saved that, but regardless, as soon as that second goal went in, I started getting really freaked out, like, oh God.
Well, of
Like,
course. Yeah, I mean, when you go down 2-0 within 37 minutes, it's not that you guys didn't have chances either in the
yeah.
first half. Like, you guys looked dangerous as well. It wasn't Tottenham had the ball for the majority of that half, but you guys look dangerous in portions. But once you go up 2-0, you feel like that's a pretty safe lead, especially with the way Tottenham's form lately has been pretty solid.
The some of the stuff I had been seeing is a lot of people's talking about this one isn't on Ange, talking about more like the players just kind of taking their foot off the gas. What do you think about that?
I don't know what I think about that. I mean, I'm still in Ange's corner. I hate the way in world football where they get rid of managers too quick. You see that with Arteta. As much as I hate it, everyone wants to can him early, but then you give him a few years, and the system eventually takes hold. I think the fan base is ready for a little patience with the manager for once, but not that much patience at the same time, because you do have expectations of Champions League and all that good stuff. So it's still early days. I mean, one game where they dominated a half and then let it slip away in the second half. Like, I'm not going to turn on the manager yet.
Yeah.
He does seem tactically inflexible, which is never a good thing in my opinion. But yeah, I'm so far so good. Like, it's fine. I'm willing to stick with him for a little longer. You got to be loving Hertzler after his halftime adjustments.
Yes. I
What did
mean,
he do at the half?
pardon?
What did he do at the half?
He dropped the line back a little bit. I had put it on Twitter and in our group chat, just bitching about modern managers, the rigidity. And I did look up if that was a word. It is a word. The rigidity of modern managers, where it's like, screw it. We're just going to keep fighting. We're going to keep doing what we're doing, even though it's not working. And he kind of clicked, and the goals we got pretty much off counterattacks. One, the Welbeck winner was off a throw-in in y'all's half, but you guys in the second still had 61% of the ball, so he just kind of adjusted to it and said, look, we're not gonna outpossess these guys. Let's find another way to beat them, and they did.
Yeah. I mean, you guys in that second half, you guys came out and were terrifying immediately. Minte? Has how you say it?
Yeah.
Minte is an absolute freak of nature. I've watched Brighton games, but it's different when you're watching the players attack your own.
Mm-hmm.
You're realizing, like, oh man, that dude's a killer.
Yeah.
He's so fast. I couldn't believe it. He's tough to contain.
It's been so much fun to watch him play, but like the way in which he plays, where he can receive a ball and he can go from standing still and kind of just goofing off with the ball at his foot to a dead sprint in like a blink of an eye. Like, he's super fast, super long, and he's strong. He's got good control. I mean, you saw it on the goal. Like, that was a freak shot, and he put so much power behind it.
Kind of want to look up that goal real quick.
Yeah. He's very special.
He's relentless is what I noticed. Yeah. Like, in press, he gave our back line zero chance at all to like chill. Like, he's always up on that. And yeah, I was so impressed with him.
Yeah. And I think the big thing that helped in the change was Kadioglu coming off right at the beginning of the first half and Estupiñán coming in. I don't think Kadioglu needs to be starting at the left back role as long as Estupiñán is healthy. You can move him into midfield or do whatever you want to do with him. I mean, I don't think Veltman's replaceable at right back anyways right now. So it's I think Estupiñán's the way to go. And he obviously changed the game. He had a hand in a lot of shit in the second half. I do have a hot take that I formulated in my head. as I watched him come on in the 74th minute and just kind of like he's very, very talented, but he's very, very raw. I think we should have loaned Enciso and kept Buonanotte. I mean, you're seeing what Buonanotte is doing in Leicester right now. I think he had a winner this past week or whatever, but Enciso like scored that Puskas nominee like 2 seasons ago, and ever since then he just thinks like, oh well, screw it, I'm just gonna spam a shot from wherever the fuck I am, and
that's
it's starting to
unfortunate.
grate on me.
Yeah. I've been watching Leicester games and noticing Buonanotte's name involved in those games lately.
Yeah, he's been playing really well. And then one of our big off-season acquisitions, Brahan Gruda, German player. Believe we got him from Mainz in Germany. He came on and he looked terrible. Like he just looked really bad. There's
He's
a
a
couple
winger?
times, yeah, winger, or he plays it as attacking mid as well. When he subbed on for Minte.
Right.
But yeah, he was coming up the right wing, and he just kept running into your defenders, like not even trying to play a pass. He would just run into your defenders. And there was a couple times.
How many times has he played?
This was, I believe, his first game for us. Like these were his first minutes for us.
You should never judge off the first appearance.
Yeah,
I remember
that is
watching
true.
Pedro Porro on his debut. He was awful. I was like, who is this moron that's out there? He can't string a pass together. He was doing nothing right. And now Pedro Porro is arguably my favorite player on the team. One of the best on the team. Definitely to watch. So
Yeah,
wouldn't judge him too hard. Give him another shot. But yeah.
I have faith in our recruiting process, but yeah, it scared me a few times too, because that game was on USAA, so I have like an
the bank was streaming it. USAA was streaming it.
Yeah, so I had it on my phone, and the only TV that I can flash it to is the one in my den. So I'm sitting behind my lazy boy chair, just pacing, like holding my scarf or whatever, and he would turn the ball over, and I think he turned it over one time that led into a counterattack for you guys, and I was going nuts.
So here's the thing about how I watched the game too. I caught the first half at home, and I was all pumped up because we scored 2 goals, and at noon I had to go to this swim party at this local in Olney around here at the swim center with Abby. So then she's old enough now, she's 6, where she could go swim off on her own. So then I got to watch the second half on my phone, but I watched like 45th minute to about the 75th minute. So I saw all 3 of your goals, and then I didn't see the last like 15 minutes. Were we like almost scoring in that at all?
Yeah, you guys were pushing. I don't remember exactly how many like chances you guys had. Well, it says you guys only had 1 shot on target, but I mean, you guys were bringing the ball up. Are you talking about the big indoor pool complex in Rockville?
I know that one, but I'm talking about the only one actually.
Oh,
it's right
we used
here.
To go to that one. We used to go to that one all the time. It had the big water slide or whatever. And I remember
Swim Center.
Yeah, they got all mad at us because my brother had stepped in like some ashes, like a few days before we left for Maryland. He had this big blister, like hot ashes. He had this big blister on his foot, and I remember we were like wrestling or something, and I stepped on his foot, and it popped the blister. And some girl goes, "Oh, his blister popped! His blister popped!" And they like kicked us out of the pool.
Oh man, that's a good story. I enjoyed that a lot. It's disgusting at the same time.
Yep.
I wouldn't have kicked you out. You could come in my pool with your dirty blisters. Both Kennedy brothers.
That thing is so overly chlorinated. Like, I'm sure they're fine. But yeah,
they are fine.
You guys had way more passes than us. 230 to 135.
Yeah, but you know as well as anybody, that doesn't matter. Possession doesn't matter. It does, but it does not. At the same time, if the other team has the less of the ball, is getting dangerous chances, then possession means nothing.
The play that sticks out to me in the first half, I know he had an assist, and we can't get too mad at him, but there was a play in the first half. I don't remember if it was before or after the second goal, but Werner played an ugly ball on like this breakaway chance that, like, I think it was Johnson couldn't stretch out for it or Solanke couldn't stretch out for it.
Yeah. I mean, we miss Sonny out there is the truth.
Yeah.
Timo's a great guy off the bench, honestly. He's awful at finishing. He wasn't for a little bit of time in his life, but now he just has the yips in front of goal and can't do it. But he does inject a nice amount of pace and energy into the game, especially late. So we're just missing a regular starter up there. Is the truth.
I mean, 1920 Leipzig.
Yeah.
34 goals, 12 assists in 45 matches. Like, that's bananas.
That's a year. That's the most incredible year of any striker I can think of. You know, that's top tier. But was he playing as a 9 in that system? Was he a winger?
I think he might have been. I might be getting him confused with Havertz, because I remember Havertz was an attacking mid for Leverkusen. But I think he might have been like an attacking mid or wide player for Leipzig.
I mean, it makes sense because they score a shit ton of goals too in soccer.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I worry about our midfield a little bit. I like the Kulusevski-Madison pairing. I think that's a lovely little midfield. Bentancur is starting, but I don't know. He hasn't been impressing me as much in that forward role. I think they have some searching to do there. Then there's been a whole lot of talk online about Romero sucking this year. Did you see any sucking?
I mean, was he the one who got nutmegged by Rooster for the winner?
I don't even know. I don't know, but probably.
It was I mean, just that play by itself, like you have to. I mean, obviously you can't foul him, but someone should have came up and helped with the double team or something like that. But yeah, like, you can't let that happen. I'm pretty sure it was one of your center backs who got nutmegged, and then the other got the absolute shit kicked out of his shins on the cross, because it was sort of like a sliding cross, and he smacked it off the goal line. And one of your defenders came up and just took the full force of that into his shins.
I hate crunching tackles like that. You can just feel it for the players. Like, hurts your body. I don't remember who was who there. But, I mean, I'm pretty comfortable with our back line in general. Sure, it sucked to blow that lead in the second half. But in the end, we're still fine. It's still early days, 7 games. So I'm trying not to read too much into it. Congratulations on your Seagulls win. You're very pumped about it. I'm sure it's a turning point in the season for y'all. I'm happy for you. But
it was
whatever, man.
Is that like the Tyrese meme where he's like crying? Congratulations.
Yes.
I saw something on, might have been Twitter, or maybe it was I think it was like the Premier League's Twitter account, and it was like last year and this year, same time, Brighton was in 6th place at the same time last year. So, I mean, you never know.
Game. We have played 7 games. There's 31 more games, so plenty of. And we just beat United. Like there's a world where we lost to United and then beat Brighton, where you're feeling fine about that and like how you should. So if you just swap the results, then like be a goldfish. Be a goldfish, Jake.
I was watching it 2-2 and being like, damn it. Like, you guys screwed up so bad in the first half. Like, you need 3 points. Like, this was desperately needed, because if we only would have gotten 1, that's what, 10 points? That would drop us all the way down into 9th, 10th, 11th. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, how fun was that for you to watch the 46th through the 66th minute where you're down 2-0?
It was great. I was pissed because like I was driving home from Sunday league to start the first half, and like my legs are shot because we haven't had subs for the past 2 weeks, and I'm playing as like a striker on like a long ball team, so I'm just running and
Sounds
running
fun.
and running, and we got smushed by our rivals 6-0, and I'm exhausted, and then I'm watching 2 goals go in 30 something minutes, and I'm like, oh, this fucking sucks. And then sat down, started smoking a cigarette at like the beginning of the second half, and then boom. And I was like, okay, cool. That's when I texted you. I was like, all right, cool, game 1. Let's see what happens.
Yeah. Yeah, and it was a good one. We had $1 bet on it too. So don't go spending that all in one place.
I did the it's represented by $1 I had in my wallet at the time now, so I'll keep that $1 above my scarves.
All right. So now we got international break. You guys are 6. You're 2 behind Villa. Jimmy, let's shout out Jimmy just for a second and say, hope you're feeling all right, buddy. Miss you tonight here on the show.
Yes, sir.
But Liverpool first, 18 points. City second, 17. Arsenal, it's 17. Chelsea, 14 points. Villa, 14. Brighton, 12. Newcastle, 12. Fulham, 11. Fulham looked pretty good all of a sudden, too, which is annoying.
Yeah.
Then Spurs, Forest, who's also looked good, and then Brentford, who has proven to be a tough out of the Premier League since they joined us several years ago. Any hot takes on the table there?
Crystal Palace sucks.
Yeah,
All you pundits that were saying they were going to finish ahead of Brighton, you guys are all bozos.
I was one of them. I was high on Palace for the year. How could you not be? They ended the season last year on a tear.
Oh, the manager's so good. This and that. Glasner. Give me a break. Matt Turner's on that team. What does that say?
He's a deputy. He's a deputy on that team, which that says all you need to say. I do want to talk a little bit of USMNT while we're here, but let's. Any other hot takes? Like, I think Chelsea being good is one of them. Unfortunately,
yeah, they've started clicking, and it's scary.
The biggest hot take on the table is in Manchester.
Oh yeah,
14th in the table, worst ever start in Premier League history for United. Oh, that does the body good. I like it.
It has to be like at least the worst. Well, no, because I think Ferguson took over before the Premier League became the Premier League when it was just first division, but it has to be one of the worst starts for that team, maybe since the Munich thing, or maybe I'm just talking out of my ass. Or not Munich, but was it Munich? Munich air disaster?
Jimmy would know.
Yeah, their whole team went down in a plane at one point.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, that's pretty much it. Chelsea being good freaking sucks.
It does. Arsenal continuing to be good freaking sucks.
Yeah.
Newcastle. I mean, really between 4th and Tottenham and Brentford in 11 is 4 points. So
yeah,
still a tight table. 2-3 weeks of hot football could completely change the complexion at this point.
Yep.
Are the teams in 18, 19, 20 the ones going down? Palace, Southampton, and Wolves? I think Wolves are.
Wolves definitely. Maybe they fire O'Neal and get the new manager bounced, but they've just looked awful.
Should have get Nuno. Nuno is great at Wolves.
Yeah.
He's now
honestly, of those 3, I mean, I think Palace pulls something out of their ass and survives.
Yeah. Ipswich in the hunt, Everton in the hunt, Leicester City in the hunt, and Manchester United in the hunt.
As I said last week with Jimmy, Ipswich, if they survive this year, they have the potential to be one of those pain in the ass mid-table clubs that just like throw wrenches in the gears of multiple teams throughout the season.
Like Brentford.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, they have the potential to be that team if they survive this year, get the revenue and all that stuff. And I mean, they got a great coach. I don't know if he stays after the summer, but Ipswich has been, I mean, as you saw with Brighton, they did it to Villa. Brighton was 0-0, Villa was 2-2 against them. They're a pain in the ass squad to play against. Their manager, who was a Brighton candidate at one point, Kieran McKenna, he is a very, very good manager.
So looks like so Brentford beat Wolves in a 5-3 match this week. That's like 8 goals. I saw a couple of those goals. That was a fantastic match. But go for it.
Oh, I was gonna say, did they? Oh no, they did it in 2 minutes. I think it was like 3 straight matches they scored in the first minute. Brentford.
Yes,
it's ridiculous.
It's crazy. What a way to start a game with a goal. We almost did it against you guys. 18 seconds in.
Yeah.
Timo Werner across the goal line to Brendan Johnson. That was, or no, to Solanke. That was almost a goal. That's very close. It's such a helpful thing to get a goal early in the second half. Like, that's when you see a team like Ipswich can compete with anybody in the Premier League. We also had City beating Fulham 3-1. Fulham went up first in that game, and then City put in 2 pretty quickly after that. And then City again, and then Fulham. West Ham dominated Ipswich, which was sorely needed for the Hammers. And then I think the worst match of all time is a 0-0 Newcastle Everton tie. It's one of the most boring games in all of football.
Pickford the hero in that.
Yes, because Anthony Gordon missed the penalty kick.
Yeah.
You can take the boy out of Everton, but you can never take the Everton out of the boy.
I love Roger from Men in Blazers. Everton takes every match day.
Yeah. He's fantastic. I think what Men in Blazers is doing is incredible in United States soccer broadcasting. Really cool.
Yeah.
And then did you watch Villa United at all? It's another 0-0 draw.
That one went on as I was playing, I believe. So
it was the same time as Tottenham Brighton.
So, I thought they were before us.
Were they? Oh, yeah, they're 9 a.m. games. I did catch some of that. I'm an idiot.
Yeah.
The Chelsea Nottingham Forest was same time as us. Yeah. 1-1.
Ooh, did you see I mean, they keep posting the Palmer. Oh yeah, we shared it on our group chat, but the Premier League just wants to slurp that dude so bad, that doofus. And they're like, oh, this move by Cole Palmer. And it's like, no, like the 2 saves are the highlight of that. Yeah, the 2 saves, back-to-back saves are the highlight of that highlight.
Jimmy called that out in that text immediately. And then I went back and rewatched it. And yeah, those were 2 incredible saves. The touch was also insane. Cole Palmer, don't get me wrong. I've been eating up Cole Palmer content like it's Wheaties in the morning because he's so dumb and it's so fun to watch. But
he has to be stopped.
To hate watch, you know?
He has to be stopped. He has to be stopped. There's, as I said before, there's nothing in his head but the gas that's in bags of potato chips. That's it.
What? AM or PM?
Did you see when they were getting into a fight? Like the 2 teams were fighting and he's like outside and he's just kind of like looking up and then he just falls onto his ass and just sits there. And it's like there is nothing going on in that dude's head.
That was smart to me instead of going and getting involved though, because you're gonna get a yellow card. Like it's all stupid. It's all pageantry. Don't get a yellow card. Don't be stupid. Well, I don't know. Chelsea, maybe there's still hope for them to just fall into complete disarray before the end of the season. It's still early days, so we can hope, can't we?
I wish they would just be. I wish they would just all start hating on each other, but it seems like they're all starting to get along now, which is scary.
Yes, it is. I mean, it's a good segue from one former Chelsea manager that couldn't get the most out of that team to now the current USMNT manager, Pochettino. We have a little USMNT action, friendlies, and I will say I miss the World Cup qualifying greatly because those were exciting games to watch for USMNT.
Except for when it was in Trinidad or Tobago.
I enjoyed watching those games because it was so ridiculous the stadiums they were playing in, and that like what always strikes me about playing in Central America for CONCACAF is how wet the fields are.
Oh yeah,
it's such a moist area of the country, of the world, not country, of the world, that the grass is always terrible. So the playing surface is terrible. But it makes for good games. Like, remember Honduras, U.S. going down, I think it was 1-0, and then Ricardo Pepi coming in late and banging in 2 headers away on the road to win that game.
Saving Greg's job, and then he left him off the fucking roster.
The fact that Greg left Ricardo Pepi off that roster is the biggest snub of the World Cup, I think.
You got to bring Jesus Ferreira. Come on, man.
Who's completely fallen off the radar. Like, you don't even hear anybody mention Jesus other than at church.
Yeah.
Ever.
Did you see Greg's new job?
I did, yeah. Director of football at the Chicago Fire, or director of soccer.
He's the new manager too, from what I understand.
Oh, is he really?
Yeah, he's got both jobs.
Well, there you go. Both 2 loser clubs that deserve to be relegated or 2 loser stakeholders that deserve to be relegated in their respective leagues.
Oh man.
What are you hearing about the early poach? I guess we'll take a look. Who are they playing? Panama
and Mexico.
In Mexico. I'm sick of playing Mexico, but yeah, sure. Why not?
That one, oh no, they aren't at Azteca. Estadio Akron.
Yeah. I think it's Chivas. It's Chivas.
Yes, that is Chivas. So that's Guadalajara.
Where's that at? In Mexico? Northern?
It is southern. So you know how like there's the Baja, right, that comes down?
Uh-huh.
And then you have the, what's it called? The Gulf of California that comes down. So you have that gap. There's like a gap off the coast of Baja, and then there's like a little part that like nudges out. It's in that. It's north of Mexico City, northwest of Mexico City.
Gotcha. All right. Yeah, I mean it'll be a tough test, but these games this is the tough part about being on the East Coast too. 9 p.m. U.S. Panama. I'm in bed by 9:30 a lot of nights, most nights. And then forget it. Tuesday, Mexico, 10:30. I'm not gonna stay up and watch that thing. 10:30 p.m. I'm way asleep.
Mountain time, baby.
I know you'll be watching that at 8:30. I probably will catch United States Panama now that I'm thinking about it though, because it's a Saturday night, so I might probably catch a half. So we'll see about Pochettino. I don't have any thoughts you can have on him before we see him on the sideline.
I mean, players are describing his training as intense, so
good.
It's no more buddy bullshit like they had with Greg. So we'll see what happens.
Too comfortable with Greg, way too comfortable. Yeah. He had his guys, and they were just gonna ride it out into not even to the knockout stages of the 2026 World Cup. So I'm actually happy to see him saying he's going to play in-form MLS players too.
I said on Twitter, like, if he wanted to make a splash, in my opinion, obviously I'm biased, but he should have brought in Diego Luna. I think he's worthy of at least a look. Like, get him in before Mexico gets him, because if we keep screwing around, Mexico's going to get him.
How good is he? I don't even know.
He's super talented, man. Like, obviously, I've really only watched him at a USL level and seen MLS clips, but like he was 17, 18 when he came to El Paso. So he's playing with like grown ass men, and he was a star.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I think that MLS players should absolutely be called in when they're in form. But is the season mid-season in for the World Cup? Yeah, right. What's
Wait,
MLS season? They play like
um, yeah,
March.
they're still playing. I mean,
Right.
if you want to get into the playoff situation right now, we could talk about that.
You know, early Rooster in the Villain days, we did kind of touch on MLS table every once in a while. Lately, what I've been thinking is I want to track who should be relegated and promoted in each of the U.S. pyramids and make a fake U.S. pyramid
I
where it
don't
is actually based on merit.
I don't want to do that.
It's impossible to do because then you couldn't compare the next season points wise.
I don't want to do it.
Yeah.
Locomotive will be in League One.
Well, you deserve to be.
Yes.
You absolutely deserve.
Yes.
You know what drives me bonkers is Lexington's getting promoted, and they're in the bottom half of League One. They should not be allowed in championship. This is ridiculous.
Kentucky's prime real estate, man.
No, they're a shitty soccer team in the middle part of the country, and I hate them for being promoted for zero reason. And you guys should get relegated. And let's pull up the MLS table real quick because I want to shout out the teams that need to get relegated.
Miami's having possibly the best. I think they're like within 3 points of the greatest MLS regular season of all time, and they did it without Messi for most of the season.
Really? He's been hurt?
He's been hurt. Suarez went out for a little bit, but like the whole gang's together now, and like they're looking really scary.
So it looks like San Jose Earthquakes. Shout out to them and their pathetic, useless, stupid club in a single entity league that they can't get relegated from. You stink. 21 points, 6 wins, 3 draws, and 24 losses. Zero consequence. Zero fans too, I bet, because they're playing useless games. How many useless games does this useless club have left in the season? Just one. They just have one. Yeah, so I'm just sick of all these MLS clubs sucking for so long. Like San Jose is always terrible, right? Or am I just completely talking out of my ass now?
I think they had some good years. I know they had that defender. I can never remember his name, but he's like American soccer heritage guy, defender. Vaughn knows him. He's had conversations with him a few times.
I know Chris Wondolowski is a famous Earthquake.
Oh yeah, there you go.
Chicago Fire, New England Revolution also deserve to go down, as does Sporting Kansas City. And there's a lot of teams. There's 29 teams in MLS. That's a big table. Really big table. But I hate it all. Should we move on?
Yes.
Just like talks nonsense for 20 minutes there.
Well, I was going to one of the things I wanted to ask, I wanted Jimmy's opinion on it too. But the Klopp to Red Bull news, I wanted to get y'all's opinion on that. I've seen a lot of people doing the like you're fucking dead to me shit to him.
Yeah, I mean, apparently a lot of Germans are very mad at him because of the way Red Bull run their club, right? Red Bull are not the traditional German model where it's like 51% fan owned. I believe it's something like that. That Jimmy would definitely know. This is
It's a 50+1 is like the name of the model,
right? And doesn't Red Bull somehow skirt that? I think there's
I'm not quite sure if that's what they're mad about. That makes sense. Like I understand Germans being mad about it, but like if you're outside of Germany, like where there's literal clubs owned by oil-rich nations, like I don't understand you getting mad at an energy drink.
Most of MLS is owned by NFL owners. Like,
yeah,
they are the same. They are one. They are legion. For they are many. They own the NFL properties that they're playing in. So then they're like double dipping in NFL and MLS and getting even more gross rich. But I digress. Sorry, I keep going back.
I just don't get it. Like outside of Germany, like That does make a lot of sense. I didn't think of it like that. The 50+1 argument. I don't know if they skirt that. They actually got their hands on Leeds. Like, it's not Red Bull Leeds anymore, or it's not Red Bull Leeds at all, but they do have the shirt sponsorship of Leeds now. But as like someone outside of Germany, I just don't understand like the outcry for this when it's like, Pep is still getting complimented and he's playing for a team that's owned by a regime. So
Yeah, I mean, I think what we're seeing probably is the social media outcry, and most German soccer fans probably don't give a shit. It's probably what's actually happening.
The thing that blows my mind too about it is like I understand German fans getting mad, but like, what has Leipzig won since being taken over by Red Bull? Have they won even like a DFB Pokal or something?
Yeah, I remember Tyler Adams lifting a DFB Pokal trophy with Red Bulls. I also remember him scoring a ridiculous Champions League goal for them in the knockout stages. Do you remember that goal?
No, I don't. Tyler Adams, that's a name I have not heard in a long time.
Well, yeah, he's been injured for a long time, but
They
yeah.
have one.
All right. RB Leipzig's unpopularity in Germany can be attributed to several factors. Number one, commercialization of football. RB Leipzig is owned by Red Bull, a corporation that has heavily invested in the club. Many fans view this as a symbol of the commercialization of football, where corporate interests overshadow traditional club values. Number two, the rapid ascension. The club was founded in 2009 and quickly climbed the ranks of German football, reaching the Bundesliga by 2016. This rapid rise without historical roots that many clubs have has caused resentment among fans. That's pettiness. The second point, I'd say.
Yeah.
So,
I mean,
oh wait, here's three more. So fan culture and identity. Traditional German football clubs often have deep-rooted fan cultures with memberships and community ties. RB Leipzig's model, which emphasizes corporate sponsorship and management, contrasts sharply with this ethos. Many fans feel that RB Leipzig lacks the authentic identity that defines other clubs. I mean, that was the same as the other one, I'd say.
Yeah.
But here's the big one: 50+1 rule. Germany's 50+1 rule aims to keep clubs primarily controlled by their members rather than external investors. RB Leipzig has been criticized for exploiting loopholes in this rule, which some fans believe undermines the spirit of German football governance. So that's kind of the big one, right? 50+1.
Yeah.
But I'm sure Klopp got a big old salary.
Yeah, they Red Bull's produced some players though. I mean, Salzburg, their Austrian team, Holland came through there. I thought Holland was going to end up at Leipzig, but he ended up going to Dortmund. Yeah, like you said, Tyler Adams, he came through New York Red Bull to Leipzig. So
Angelino came from was he? Yeah, no, he was New York Red Bulls, and he went to Leipzig.
Yeah,
I mean, and Salzburg is always Champions League quality of club. Yeah, I don't really understand the Red Bulls model, but I know they have a team in Brazil as well.
Yeah, they just bought a Red Bull. What is it? Bragiano or something like that. Bragano.
Not sure, but good for Kloppo. Bad for Germans, apparently. All right, should we go into our top 5 list?
Yes, I'm down.
All right, so you want to explain the top 5 this week?
Okay, so top 5 for this week is the craziest transfers. So it could be crazy money-wise. It could be crazy for the player going and struggling. It could be crazy for the transfer saga. Just in your mind when you saw that or afterwards, you were like, wow, that's crazy.
Yes.
No.
Yes. Sorry, you want to start us off?
So I will start us off. So I have 2 OLIs. Do you have any OLIs?
Yes, I do I have an OLI, yes.
Okay, so I'll do mine first. So my first OLI is Ansu Fati to Brighton, and this was a loan, obviously, but still, if you kind of came into football for whatever reason during these Euros, you think, Lamine Yamal, like this wonder kid, superstar or whatever. Before Lamine Yamal, it was Ansu Fati. Like that was his destiny. They gave him the 10 shirt at Barcelona. Injuries derailed it. Injuries were hampering him at Barcelona, so the loan move made sense. And the reason why it was so shocking is Brighton just has never been associated with these type of players. Like he was on super high wages. Brighton ended up paying a good chunk of those wages, and it sure as hell did not work out. But that summer was great because it was sort of like, we're going into Europe this year. We're going to go play in Europa League, and this like superstar potential player has agreed to come here to play for us. Like Brighton was a destination for him. So that was the reason why it was in my OLI.
Yeah, I mean, I remember that transfer being massive news, and De Zerbi at the time, his stock was super high.
Yeah,
He was flying high that summer for sure. That's a good one. My first OLI is Gareth Bale coming back to Spurs. So I have to remind everybody that I didn't start watching football. I didn't start watching Tottenham till like Champions League run. So I never got to see Gareth Bale 1.0. I only watched highlights of the Galloping Horse, and never got to see it live. So I was very excited for that one when he came back. It was crazy during COVID too that he didn't get to play in front of fans. Like we were robbed that opportunity to see this in front of the fans. That heart. Yeah. First OLI.
So my second OLI is one that's very near and dear to our hearts. It's sort of in the same grain as the Fati one, sort of like a club making a move that you just didn't see coming. And it's Bill Hamid to MBFC. Just absolutely bananas. I mean, we're both US national team fans, unfortunately. And he's played games for the national team. Like Maryland Bobcats has a former national team goalkeeper on the squad, and he came in just absolutely fucking balled out, like, because he's a big bad motherfucker. But Bill Hamid to MBFC, all of us had our minds blown.
Oh, that's such a good shout. And just hearing the words Maryland Bobcats make me want to rant for about 45 minutes. Right now, you're just triggering me to stay up super late and rant, but guess I got to move on for now.
Yeah.
So my second OLI, Vincent Janssen, who was a Dutch striker. Tottenham, it's not his incoming to Tottenham, it's outgoing. This Dutch man that was in the Dutch national team picture went to Monterrey in Liga MX. That's like one of the wildest. I just never expected him to move there, and then he did well, and then he came back into the Netherlands picture. It's just like I had never heard of any sort of Dutch player ever going to Liga MX, so it was very strange for me to hear that initially when I first started watching.
That's one of the most beautiful places in the world. Like that stadium there, incredible. They had in that similar vein, like I can never remember his name. The guy played for the French national team, Gignac or Yignac. I don't know how to pronounce it, but he was like a long-time Tigres player in Mexico, but he was French. Just a baller for that big center forward.
Interesting. Huh? Love it. All right. Should we go to the real list?
Yeah. So my number 5 is Mario Balotelli, Milan to Liverpool. Mario Balotelli, as I've said a million times, is my number one I can fix him player. I love the way that dude played. Nutcase or whatever, but I love the way he played. So Suarez is going to Barcelona. Liverpool goes out, spends a good amount of money on Balotelli to bring him in. He ends up with one Premier League goal. Liverpool becomes absolutely mediocre. He goes back on loan to Milan, and then they let him go for free the season after. Just absolutely depressing. for the guy. The stories that came out of this, speeding tickets, and he had some like personal assisted friend that would sleep in his luxury car or sports car at the training grounds and wait for him to get out. And
Balotelli is a wild character. We could spend an episode on Balotelli.
That was the story. Is someone comes into training on the team with like a new, it might have been iPhone or whatever, but he had like the newest model of the phone. Balotelli sees it, runs out of training to the car, tells the guy, comes back into training, and like 30 minutes later, the guy comes back and gives Balotelli his new phone.
Oh, Balotelli. He's one of a kind. One of
the best.
Yeah. All right, I've got a good number 5 here. This is about the time that I started watching the league too. There's a fella named Emiliano. Is it Emiliano Sala? Do you remember this story?
No,
Cardiff
I don't think
City.
So okay.
He was purchased from a French Ligue 1 club, Nantes, for 15 million, club record for Cardiff City. Got transferred to Cardiff City. 2 days later, he's on his way from France to UK, and his plane goes down over the English Channel, and he dies. So the transfer was completed 2 days before that. So there's been court cases going on between Nantes and Cardiff City ever since to complete this transfer. But just kind of a wild, really sad. He's a 28-year-old Argentine striker.
Yeah,
Getting his chance in the Premier League. Sure, it was Cardiff City at the time from League One, and goes down over the English Channel. Like super sad, super crazy. Definitely fits the craziest transfers of all time, I think.
I mean, from the story I heard, like they put him in like a piece of shit plane too to get him over there.
Was that Cardiff that flew him over?
I'm not sure exactly like the full story of it, but I remember hearing something about it, like him telling someone or someone telling him like that, that plane looks like shit.
The pilot, it later emerged that he was unlicensed as well as unqualified to fly at night, and that both had been exposed to high levels of carbon monoxide during the flight.
Jesus.
So, yes. So Nantes is demanding the first of 3 payments for the player. Cardiff is refusing to make the payment. So, even when there's death of a 28-year-old striker, life moves on for teams, and they still negotiate, which is sad in a way. But, yeah, wild story.
If I had glasses, I would push them up and go, it's nonce.
It's nonce. It's nonce.
Nonce.
Yeah.
So my number 4 is Harry Maguire from Leicester to Manchester United. I believe record fee for an English defender. They brought him in with all the promise in the world, and he's just been a meme ever since. And it's gotten to the point of where I don't even like making fun of the guy anymore because I just kind of feel bad at this point. Like, he just looks bummed out most of the time, and he's just getting brutalized too. I think on one of the goals, like one of the wild ass goals they gave up, he got nutmegged, and it's just been brutal.
The managers have stuck with him though.
Southgate loved him.
Right. Yeah, and I mean Ten Hag still loves him. Apparently, I don't know why he would, but yeah, that was a wild transfer. That was definitely a wild one. So my number 4 is kind of a sad homer one. I'm gonna go Ndombele to Spurs. At the time, it was a club record signing. And he looked fantastic on film. The way he moved his body in the midfield when he had the ball was incredible. But then you found out when he was off the ball, he was maybe the laziest midfielder I've ever seen in my life. And the club record signing, Tanguy Ndombele, quickly became a maligned figure at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. So that was crazy to me because it's the first time I ever saw the Spurs splash that kind of money. And he turned out to be such a flop. It was like Anthony Bennett level of NBA flop. Or dare I say Bryce Young?
Yes. Bryce Young is no one's as bad as Bryce Young.
Kwame's up there.
Kwame was bad. But Jordan doesn't know how to draft players, so. So
He's
my
on the
number,
list.
huh?
Nothing.
So my number 3 is the MSN lineup for Barcelona was absolutely lethal. Messi, Suarez, Neymar. So to kind of keep him, Barca put a ridiculous what's it called, release clause on Neymar, and PSG said bet and paid 222 million euros.
Whoa.
For the release clause of Neymar. So that is my number 3. Neymar to PSG was absolutely bananas just for the amount of money that had to be spent to bring him in. And he won essentially nothing at PSG.
Wow.
And then got ran out of town by Mbappe.
What a fantastic shout right there. $222 million.
222 million euros.
Yeah, I mean, 222 million euros, $222 million.
Yeah, at that point, it really doesn't matter anymore. It's like, yeah, just give me whatever.
Yeah. So my number 3 is Ronaldo to the Saudis.
Yeah.
It's completely changed how transfers that have operated since then. You're seeing players like Ivan Toney going to the Saudis for money. And if Ronaldo didn't go to the Saudis, nobody, I don't think, would have. But it happened, and people are getting paid out. People are making obscene amounts of money. Nobody likes soccer in Saudi Arabia. Nobody outside of Saudi Arabia likes watching Saudi Arabian soccer. Soccer still stinks. But the transfer, as far as implications, has been quite massive in the last couple of years. So that's why it's crazy.
Yeah, he opened the floodgates on that one because, I mean, leave it to him to try to legitimize that shit league. But his defenders are saying he's changing soccer. Jordan Henderson went over there to try to do that too, and he ended up looking like a fucking idiot.
I mean, that's what all the live guys are saying in the golf tour too. We're changing golf. We're changing golf. I mean, just say what it is. You're padding your pockets, which, if you put me in that situation, I honestly don't know how I would react. Like, that's a lot of money to turn down.
Did you see how much they were offering Mbappe?
No, what was it?
It was like something ridiculous, like
billions.
Like, yeah, essentially like $1 billion contract
to go play soccer.
Yeah,
crazy, insane. Sad.
I don't know. Like, I will say this again. Like, Mesopotamia is one of the most beautiful places I've ever been. Like Baghdad, Iraq, Tigris and the Euphrates meet. Like, it's birthplace of civilization. It's beautiful. You go further south, there's like sand dunes. It looks like Arrakis if you've seen Dune. Like, I was in Kuwait and it was the most insane heat I have ever felt in my entire life. You get off. I got off the plane at like 9 p.m. and it was still like 90 something degrees out.
Awful.
Just insanity. And you would feel it the next day. Like, I could feel the liquid coming out of my eyeballs.
Mm-hmm. Awful. Yeah. So number 2 for you?
So number 2 for me was one of the craziest things. Early 2000s. David Beckham, Manchester United to Real Madrid, part of the Galacticos project. Beckham started falling out with Alex Ferguson. You had the boot incident where Ferguson essentially kicked a cleat and hit Beckham in the head and split his eyebrow open. Beckham with Posh Spice and in the tabloids all the time and all that shit.
That Beckham documentary is so good, and that goes into detail about that transfer. Yeah, you have not. Watched
I've seen that. Yeah. I saw that. I was thinking in my head like the 99. I watched the 99 documentary or whatever, their treble winning documentary. But yeah, that Beckham documentary was great.
Yeah, he was undergoing all that hate in England because he got the red card in the World Cup, and like the entire country was just being insanely hard on the man, which English people, they just love shitting on their talented players. Like, yeah. So that was definitely a wild.
He didn't really win anything in Madrid except for, I believe, one league title was last year there. Then ended up making the MLS move, which sort of again opening floodgates for players to go get rich off of NFL owners. But
that's great. Yeah. That's my number 2.
Yeah.
Beckham to LA Galaxy was my number 2 transfer.
Oh, really?
Yeah. You had anything else to say there? I cut you off.
Oh, well, just he moved from a 4-4-2 to a 4-3-3. Started playing the central midfield role. Changed his number to number 23. I can't stand Real Madrid now, but those Galactico teams were something to behold in the early 2000s. So.
Yeah, I was never there for them. Sounds quite lovely, but yeah, they're annoying now because they just dominate Champions League and La Liga. That annoys me. So yeah, my number 2, like I alluded to earlier, Beckham to Galaxy. At the time, MLS was nothing. It was absolutely nothing. It was like NISA, but a first division. So for Beckham to come to the Galaxy and agree to it and play on these like high school pitches, and then try to prop up the league as the star player, which it did, brought a lot of eyes to MLS. And then what it's done for David Beckham long term with the Inter Miami project and Messi, and the attention it brought to the league in general was just crazy and good for American soccer at the time. Like I had no qualms with MLS in the early or mid 1990s before. Now I think it's the devil.
Yeah.
At the time, that transfer was insane. He was way too good to be there. He did transfer away to AC Milan after one, I think, half season. He's like, this stinks. But then someone had to beg him to come back to the MLS. And yeah, saved their asses. Saved all their asses.
Yeah, he was going to play like Champions League knockout games with AC Milan just because he wanted to get out of there. Yeah. He
tried to stay there long term, but MLS like kind of dicked him over in his contract.
Yeah. Well, I mean, the deal ended up working out for him because he got what? He got Inter Miami for like $35 million.
Right, which now it's valuated at probably $1 billion.
I think around the same time that they started, David Tepper, the owner of the Penguins or the Panthers, bought FC Charlotte, I think, for $225 million.
Interesting.
So wild. And that was a fun part of that documentary when he's talking about like his footballing friends being like, what do you do? Like, are you sure about this? Like, what are you doing?
America? You want to play soccer in America? There's nothing going on there. It's amazing the country hates the game as much as they do, but we do.
The beef with Donovan and was it Bruce Arena just kind of putting them in the room together and saying like, figure it out. And then they go on to win what they won an MLS Cup, right?
Yeah, that was a pretty cool story actually. Yeah, came back and LA Galaxy was fun to watch back then. Like I didn't watch them, but I remember getting hyped about it. Like, oh, Beckham's in MLS. Like, what is this soccer shit? Maybe I should watch it. But anyway, last one.
So last one. Yeah. Last one. I don't believe that there can be any other number one than this number one. It is Luis Figo from Barca to Madrid. Just insanity. Like the whole story of that, I don't have time to get into. But there's portions where Perez from Real Madrid essentially used Figo to win an election to become the president of Real Madrid. Kind of tricked Figo at the same time, saying like, I will give you this money and you don't have to sign with us. I can use you to become president and then you can back out. And then it became a point where like it went to the chopping block and he couldn't back out anymore. He didn't want to come. And that first game at Barcelona, the pig's head thrown on the ground, soda, cups with piss and vomit thrown at him, just insanity. Like you would see the flares and then there were signs like calling him Judas and in Spanish. insanity. Like, just the image of him walking by that pig's head is just crazy.
I gotta look that up. That does sound absolutely insane.
Yeah.
You know whose favorite player is Figo?
Who's that?
Pulisic.
Oh, really?
Yeah, he rates him as his favorite player ever.
Pulley's in my rant today, actually.
Oh, good. Yeah, I'm having a good year. All right, my number one's actually different. I didn't know about Figo switching from Barca to Madrid, which is absolutely insane. I have Maradona to Napoli,
Ooh.
which that was a wild transfer. I think there's mafia involved and cocaine deals involved, and I think it was very strange for him to go to Napoli. Like, it was a very random team for him to go to in Italy, and then he just transformed them into serial Serie A winners.
Mm-hmm.
Napoli going crazy, Maradona fever. I would love to get some Maradona Napoli jerseys.
They did a real good job of covering up his drug tests.
They had to. My man was snorting everything in sight. Yeah, so definitely another good documentary is the Maradona documentary, and it goes all into the Napoli transfer, which is fantastic. Fantastic piece of content.
He was some of the stories that came out about him too at Napoli, where like there was like two, I think, youth players that had played in the regular season, and when they won Serie A, he pretty much told the ownership, like, pay them the bonus. And he's like, well, they played like 2 games. He's like, yeah, they played 2 games. Like, pay them the bonus.
So you're telling me there's a little bit of good merit, that little cocaine snorting human.
People said like the only harm, like there was one guy who was talking about like the only harm he did was to himself. Like, he was just a great guy all around from what I've heard.
Huh, interesting. Who knows, Jake? Who knows? All right. Rants?
Yes. So, first off, shout out to the people in North Carolina going through stuff. I hope things get figured out soon. And then also keep the people of, West Florida and Central Florida in your thoughts. They are about to start going through it. Hurricanes ain't no joke, and things are going to continue to get worse and worse the way we're treating our environment. So my second part of my rant is Christian Pulisic, you are a tremendous player. I make fun of you with the NRA Mars stuff, but you are an insanely talented player. I don't know, Mike, if you saw the Fiorentina story. Grab your nuts and take the penalty kicks. If you are the penalty guy, do not let these guys, like Cole Palmer's a dipshit, like just a dumb dude, and he fought off Nicholas Jackson for a penalty because he's the penalty taker. Tammy Abraham and Tio Hernandez, you guys are both idiots, just doofuses. Like, you could tell, like they look like they had talked it out. Like, yeah, we're gonna take this ball from him. We're gonna take the kicks or whatever. I don't know if it's an American bias. I would understand American bias, whatever. But Pulisic, you got to sack up, dude. Like, sack up and take those kicks.
Missed a competitive penalty, and watch him this next weekend get the penalty and miss it.
That'd just shank it.
Yeah, but every time he's taken one for the U.S., it's confident. Like, I definitely trust this for the penalty taker. And yeah, agreed. Take the ball. It is weird early, but once he establishes himself and makes a couple, then it will be easier for him to just take the ball.
Yeah,
but
and it's one of those things where it's like it's been fun to watch him grow and to thrive at a place that's not a hellhole like Chelsea was when he was there.
Correct. Chelsea's always a hellhole.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's on the tear. That goal that he had against Fiorentina was sick.
Insane.
Yeah. Cross to the back post and a kind of karate chop goal, one-timer. Yeah. Yes, please. Yes, please. I'm all about it. All right. My rant. We'll have a whole episode on the Bobcast about how much NISA sucks, but it's hard to just fathom the ineptitude of the league, the crookedness of everything going on with the PLS standards, the way the players constantly get boned in these league situations, and the lack of any oversight of NISA by U.S. Soccer is just insane. The Bobcats should be playing this playoff game. They should be playing in the finals this weekend, and it's all a bunch of fucking bullshit. I'm sick of the drama with NISA. They need to die.
Yep. I've always kind of not liked the league for a while. I tried to be diplomatic, I guess, because Bobcats were there, and whatever. Like, that's where Bobcats are. That's where we are.
The first couple of years, they tricked you into thinking it was a good platform.
Yeah. So, What a bummer. I talked about it. I talked about it on the last show. It's just such a bummer. And then to see Forca's interview and stuff like that. Like, that dude's a fucking legend. That guy is my favorite Bobcat of all time. He's been there forever, ever. Like, he deserved to lift that trophy this year. Deserved.
Yeah. I mean, I'm glad they had the community night and everything. It was a great night. Bridge Sport came out from UPSL and put on a good match, and the youth club showed out. Perfect night. It was like low 70s and sunny, and they did the trophy celebration as a feud to NISA. And it's great. So they will continue. Hopefully they have enough money for lawyers in the short term. If anybody out there that's listening, all 10 to 15 of you have deep pockets, go talk to Jay Saba and hook up the Bobcats for League One. That's what we all want, League One.
There we go. Especially with Corpus Christi, their League 2 team is going to be moved up to League 1 professional status. So I will have an away day in beautiful Corpus Christi, Texas.
Vamos Bobcats, live forever. Live forever. Actually, no, it's not Bobcats. This is the.
Here we go.
Yep. Peace.